There we go. I think we are streaming now. A little bit late. We have lost Chuck and perhaps Tim. I don't know what's going on. Half the troll crew has meandered on. How's it going, Mark? Had to get some stuff kind of hobbled together quickly for today's jibber jabber session. Alright, there we go. I assume that Tim has now seen that we are streaming and the bots are coming in. A raffle for a seat at Steve's first official online Twitch game. Alright, yes, we're still doing raffles for seats at my game. I think is next week or something like that. I don't know. Well, good deal, Willie, because I got here late. I was trying to hobble together some panels. Chuck normally does that. So he's got the files to kind of flood all that mess. But I hobbled a little bit together. And there we go. All right, Tim's on deck, so that's good. That's something. We are here today on September 10th, 2020 for GM's Tricks of the Trade number 62. We're going to talk about alternate healing. I think this has come up a number of times in the last few weeks, just healing in general. So I thought it'd be a good time just to kind of throw out there for all those people who actually don't visit the stream and who don't hang out here. They can get it via the newsletter. All right, Tim is here as Troll Lord Games. Good deal. Chuck's got some kind of, he said something about a box and showers, and I don't know. I don't know if his wife's fine and put him in a box and send him to Arkansas or not. And get it in the database. Yeah, that's a good point, Tim. I keep forgetting that database. I keep forgetting to go there, and it's there. I keep forgetting to promote it and all kinds of goobly goop. How's it going, Athelston? Yeah. My wife cleared it off. I couldn't take it anymore. Whenever I put my glasses on it, my glasses will go kind of sideways because my hair is too long. That is a surefire reason to either get a crew cut or get my wife to cut my hair. How's it going, DM? Chuck in a box. Yeah, there you go. Chuck in a box. Not up chuck in a box, just chuck in a box. Yeah, I don't know. Healing is funny for me at the table because I'm not a huge, obviously a cleric. One of a cleric's major roles is to serve, as the healing blah 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 whatever. But I just don't care for it so much. It seems like it. Haunted Holler Painting is hacking through the commercials. It seems like the cleric just ends up being this medic that runs from spot to spot. Patching people together, which is sort of cool, I guess. And if you're into that type of play, that's great. That's what you want to do. But it kind of takes so much away from the cleric that I've never been a huge fan of it. And we've talked about this quite a bit, I think, in this stream. So I've had to develop over the years quite a few ways of actually getting around the cleric being a healer. And we've done it both in the rules for Castles and Crusades, and we've done it... and I've done it just to kind of, shit that you can do to make it a little bit better. I'm a cleric. Now, are you a cleric in real life as in a doctor or a priest or what have you? I think I'm going to get a Dr. Pepper. Speaking of doctors, it's time to get a doctor. It's been one of those interesting days. Not unproductive. But I'm frying taters right now. There you go. How's it going, KFC? I think we're having stir fry tonight, Bivard. But my trip this weekend was canceled, so there's probably going to be some KFC in my near future. I need to go buy it like in the morning as soon as they open, put it in the refrigerator, and then have it for dinner. That's what I need. A pastor. There you go. Oh, that's right, Haunted Holler. I knew that. Absolutely. But I think that you kind of do a lot of spiritual healing as well. So, which is an interesting concept. Why can't we integrate, and Haunted Holler, you and Derek would be perfect for this. Why can't we integrate spiritual healing as a part of a cleric's you know, I don't know, list of skills. It would be a different type of healing. It's very interesting. You know, I mean, literally before I started this stream, before I started putting the panels together for this mess, I was working on the Spellbook Compendium, which I'm really not happy with that name. I'm not happy with the Adventure Spellbook. I'm not happy with any of the titles that have rolled across my desk for that. I kind of like the idea of Adventure Spellbook because it keeps it in tune with the Adventurer's Backpack, but it's just such a mouthful that I don't know. I'm not real happy with it. But that would be an interesting thing to discuss in the spellbook. This idea of this a different approach to healing from the cleric's perspective. So it's maybe protections against spells, maybe protections against just other kinds of stuff. It may already be built in there, and I have to look at it. Spell Codex would it's kind of a cool concept, Rhino, but it would kind of wedge in with the other, the Codex series, the mythological Codex books. You know, Commander Pete, no Tome of Spells, or Tube of Spells, or Google of Spells, or Amazon of Spells, or whatever. Are we doing a raffle already? I don't think we're doing a raffle just yet. Wouldn't Bless be sort of... Yeah, see, I guess that's what I was just... As soon as it's funny you say that, I was thinking some of it's probably already built in there, because Bless, and I guess, Cure, Curse. It's not Cure, Curse. Whatever the opposite of Curse is. That is Bless, I suppose. But yeah, there's probably some of that already built into it. I don't know. It's an interesting concept to look at. Shamanistic type healing. Yeah, just something a little different. And now, Pete, you're going to get into the appendix. That's right, Commander Pete. Off to the appendix you go. No more tomes and tombs. It caused great confusion in a company meeting we had this morning about tome of the... What is the one Davis just wrote? River King. The River King thing. Tomb of the River King got confused with even staff. It just was much confusion this morning, so I banished Tome and Tomb from titles from henceforth to the end of time. Cleric Blessing could boost saves. That's very cool. That's very, very pertinent for Castles and Crusades. The cleric's ability maybe gets more ability to actually enhance attribute checks. That's very cool. Love it. How's it going, 42? Glad you could get here a little earlier today. Very, very cool. All right, I guess we can wander into it. We usually wait a little bit. We've kind of already started, but Dominican, no more tombs. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do. How about this? Wait, what is it? One of my players, Chris, he always says, I'm bringing the Spellycoms online. So maybe we could just call it Spellycom. The Spellycom book. It probably wouldn't go over well. But there you go. The Tome of Tombs. You know, really, Virtual Wizard, we should probably do that book. That should just be... And then we can do the Tomb of Tomes, or I don't know. The other one would be the Tome of Tombs and the Tomb of Tomes. I don't know. It's exhausting. Damn word is utterly exhausting. Whichever idiot in our past, back in, I don't know what, the 900s, got those two words so close, we should dredge him up and beat him with a stick or something. Or her, I don't know. Someone came up with it. The Tome of the Cursed Encyclopedia. There you go. I feel like we could do this all day. There you go. All right, so let's dive in. What is Bandages doing up? How did that get up there? Oh, look. I did these panels so fast, and I can't fix it now. So if you go scroll through, you'll notice GM trick number 5. It stayed, the number stays the same way. I got everything done, but the number will have to just... We will be launched in Trick of the Trade number 5 for quite a while. You know, Tim, I actually got them all done at 10 till 5, and I had the numbers correct. And then I thought, I got 10 minutes. I can probably get these pictures in here and do like Chuck does with his little pictures and whatnot. But clearly when I went back over, I didn't fix it all. So there you go. It's a very Steve approach to things. That's just the way. It's not a Toma. Oh, Lord. I can't even... Grindel, I can't even pronounce any of it anymore. That's tome. Yes, that's that's tome. From Latin tomos, from Greek tomos, section, roll of papyrus. Tome from Timnine, to cut, so we blame anyone named Thomas. All right, Thomas. Anyone named Thomas, you're in the appendix. Spellapalooza. There you go. Yeah, definitely haunted on. Any new idea. I love it. Love it. I love anything that can expand the game into different and new areas. You know, whether it's Castles and Crusades, 5th edition, or Swords and Wizardry, or Dungeon Crawl Classics, or I don't know any other games. Turtles and Trolls, AD&D, whatever. If it can expand it in any direction that's new, is really, really cool. I know there's lots of stuff out there, but obviously as designers, writers, gamers, GMs, and all this crap, we get kind of stuck. We get stuck in a rut of what we're doing and what we're not doing. So cool stuff. 5e makes my teeth hurt. Well, I don't play it. I play C&C myself, but 5e's got a lot of fans, so we'll go with that. All right, so let's dive right into this GM's Tricks of the Trade, and obviously, and Far Wander has given us a nice segue. Obviously, these tricks go for any game that you're running, pretty much. If it's got healing for today's subject, if it's 5th edition or Castles and Crusades, or I'm trying to think of that one. I'm trying to think of different games, different RPGs, Dark Heresy, whatever. I don't know. See, this is recommended by 4 and 5. We've developed a ad campaign like that before. I'm actually working on a pretty cool one now, doing little videos that harken back to the 80s. I'm pretty excited about. We'll see how those pan out. Working on them right now. So at any rate, first up is GM Trick of the Trade number. There's going to be a bunch of number 5s today. So at number 5 is bandages, obviously, and we've talked about this here. One of the easiest ways to let's just take a step back. So for those of us just joining, so we're talking about alternate ways of healing, so that the cleric or the druid doesn't have to be the main vehicle for healing characters at any level. Obviously, we don't want to take away that ability from the cleric. We don't want to say that they shouldn't heal. But if your player does not want to focus on healing, or if your player wants to just kind of do a little bit of healing here or there, then there's got to be, for the GM, there has to be alternate ways to heal. Otherwise, you're going to end up with wounded characters that remain wounded for the better part of forever and a day. It's taken me a while in the past few years to kind of develop these things. Davis developed different avenues, I should say. Davis, my brother, who played at my table forever and a day, up until a few years ago, he kind of forced my hand on this because he played the cleric, and his cleric refused to get healing spells. He refused to have spells for the first 2 levels. Actually sewed his mouth shut in some kind of spiritual thing to try to commune with Amanut, the frog god. So the party was immediately kind of thrown back on its own resources, both resting and figuring different ways out. And that's over time, we kind of developed this different approach to healing. And I like it because I like what Davis did, minus sewing the mouth shut was kind of weird. But rub some dirt on it. Yeah, well, that's Davis's normal approach. If you see Davis walking around with duct tape on his hands, he's cut himself pretty bad. He won't use bandages, but he will. He'll take a piece of duct tape and wrap it around his hand or arm or wherever he's bleeding. So I guess it's the same kind of philosophy. Yeah, the good berries. There you go. Good berries are actually really helpful for this discussion. That's a great point, Bifford, because they're you keep them, right. You're gonna have your good berries for at least a few days, depending on the GM, and you can hand them out as necessary. And that's sort of what I think developed over time for us. It wasn't so much mass healing as kind of a accumulation of little bits of healings, like good berries and bandages and salves and medicines and crap like that, to heal 1 or 2, 3 or 4 or 5. So by the time you're done with all of your applicants, they've healed 6 hit points or something like that. And this is just a nice way to enhance a cleric's healing and all that crap. But it also gives you great role-playing opportunities. The bandages actually play a role in things. So you've got someone who gets hit with a sword and now they're bandaged up and splinted or whatever the hell. It's just duct tape fixes everything. That is definitely Davis's philosophy. I gotta drop off. We'll get you. All right, Haunted. We'll talk to you later, man. It's good talking to you again. Make sure it's good. Yeah. Yeah, he does. He'll wrap the living crap. I'm always finding duct tape in the yard. I don't know, and it'll be shaped in. He's always cutting his fingers. It'll be shaped in the shape of a thumb or some such business. He took a spear through the leg with a crit. 9 hit points damage with 7 hit points. One of the other players rushed some of his berries into the wound, crushed some of his berries, mushed some of his berries into the wound, and bandaged them, then dripped juice into its mouth. It did the job. Now that's very cool. That's a great way to use good berries, and it's actually kind of a nice gray area, right? I don't know how most GMs do it. If someone goes negative in my game, I don't let them. They have to rest for 7 days, no matter what. That's just the way it is, unless very powerful heal magic is brought into play. And that would be kind of an interesting. Maybe what I would probably do is if you get there within 2 rounds with the good berries, you can stabilize the patient and bring them back, to 0 so they can be healed. That type of thing. I love it. That is an absolute fantastic use of good berries there. A good berry jam sandwich. There you go. It's like what are those pods everybody was eating? The washing pods or something. It became kind of a standing joke that just put a healing potion in one of those pods. Stick it in your mouth. As soon as you get hit, crush it. You got healing potion. You're drinking it. You're healing as you're fighting. Very. How's it going, Clever? I'm not sure I went with that as a GM, but it was humorous if nothing else. It weren't always physical wounds, but rather the wear and tear of muscles and fatigue. So salves and bandages is in a bad course. Maybe even stimulants of some sort, certain berries, etc. Healing pods. Yeah, healing pods. Yeah, that's actually it's kind of a philosophical discussion, and I dove into it a little bit. I didn't want to get into it in the newsletter thing because, as clearly Grindel, there's a lot of leeway in the way you interpret what a wound is. Is it exhaustion or is it actual physical? Is it just a scratch, or whatever? Or the abilities to jump back and forth and all of this, the character's abilities, blah blah blah. And obviously, I think the easiest is just say it's a mixture of all these things. And this allows you it gives the GM a little bit of wiggle room to let alternate sources of healing in. And in this case, Tide Pods, yeah, that was it. And this was the first room in beta knock. Yeah, that's not good. When you die in the first room, it's probably not good. Goodberry Sunblocker healing pods that give one day healing but have potential for addiction if too many. Now that's an interesting concept, 42. I love the idea of an addiction. That would be cool. You use good berries too much, you gotta have them. I like that. That's kind of an interesting concept. You get addicted to healing in one capacity or the other. PCs are addicted. Yeah, that is true. Unless they don't have it, then they're screwed. So the bandages it's a really simple thing. Frequently, as GMs characters will have bandages, and they don't really have anything other than a role-playing side of it. But just give them a little bit of mechanical use. Allow them to heal 1 or 2 hit points if they get bandaged, within X amount of time of the wound happening. It's just a great way to feed a little bit of hit points back. And even if a character is say they're first level and they have 7 hit points and they take 5, they can fall out of the combat, bandage themselves back up, maybe get 1 or 2 hit points back and get back into the combat without immediately dying. Are we doing a raffle? Why does the raffle keep popping up? I think we're doing the raffle at the end. So whatever's going on. I see. I'm still using that. Maybe the good berries have a laxative. Well, that's just rude. But that's just rude. I would not recommend that. And where did the good berries come from? In one campaign I ran, I had the fruit magically being robbed from another area in the world. The PCs eventually came across the barren landscape they used to be. Oh, that's awesome. That's very cool, Jay. I've done that before, not with good berries, but with other things, food and whatnot. It's got to come from somewhere. The balance of the world and all that. They heal you up and clean you out. I love it. Bandages are a good reason for a D4 to be used for a point plus. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and that's kind of the tricky thing with bandages. When they're, and this was where we get into the exhaustion thing. When they're 10th or 12th or 15th level, healing 1 to 2 hit points isn't going to be a lot. It's not going to be enough really to make the difference. But if you want to kind of expand it, you can do a percentage that the bandages heal 1% of their lost hit points. So at first level, it's going to be 1 hit point. At 10th level, it's going to be 10, or whatever it is. And that gives your bandages a little bit more strength to it if you want to go that route. I haven't really gone that route. I kind of encourage the kind of the multiplicity effect of them using a bunch of these things. So even at at 10th level, they can heal 7, 8, 9 hit points just by using this extra stuff. But if you want to give it a little bit more oomph to it, then definitely do a percentage of hit points as opposed to just a direct hit point loss gain. I really like the bandage system in Ultima Online. You could apply them even in combat, but if you fumbled, you roll, your fingers slip, you would heal almost nothing or even injure yourself. That's really cool. So what, as you may know, for a wonder, we've done, I've kind of taken that concept in the Adventurer's Backpack, but not with the negative side. So in the Adventurer's Backpack, if you apply bandages, you heal 1 to 2 hit points. But then you get to make an attribute check, and if you succeed at your attribute check, you get a heal. Then you heal you did it so well, you heal another hit point. So you can conceivably, after putting bandages on, heal someone 3 hit points. And at first level, we all know that's a huge thing. That can be up to a third of their hit points or all of their hit points damage they've taken. But yeah, I love the concept, and that kind of what you're talking about, Far Wanderers. It makes the players play more, right? The actual tying an attribute check or whatever check your game system uses to the bandages and to the healing is just more dice they're rolling, more playing they're doing, more action they're taking, even in the midst of combat or right after combat. They're actually still doing something, or they're doing this, that, or the other. So anytime you can keep players kind of, going and succeeding or failing at whatever task, and definitely if it has a dice roll, it's always a good thing. So adding something like Far Wander just mentioned, or making an attribute check kind of based around making the bandages work better, it's always a good thing. Ultims, this is my favorite series of video games back then. I never did get around to playing Ultima Online. I never did it. I was pretty much Doom 2 and then Grand Theft Auto. That's probably the two games I played the most. A little bit of one of the first person shooters. I can never remember this game. It's Modern Warfare. Hell, I can't remember what the hell it's called. But something, I don't know. It's I got it on the Xbox. Damn it, whatever. Spellfolio. Keep on trying, Mark. Never quit, man. Never quit. Yeah, Clever. That's cool. I mean, these can go into any game systems. That's kind of the nice thing. You don't need anything. You don't need any specific game, and that's it's kind of the nice thing about taking stuff like this. It's just you just run with it, and it doesn't matter what other mechanics are built into it. Whether your game already has a lot of healing in it or not, it doesn't matter. You just gotta roll with it. It's driving me crazy. What game? Damn it! I'll be back. I got another. It's driving me crazy. They're all gone. I'm not gonna know. So they all wandered off. It's driving me crazy. Should be running a CNC game, but I gotta finish this 5e campaign. Yeah. Well, you know how it is, and it's a tough thing getting players to move over. It frequently is. Do you use and specific attributes for the check with the bandages? I do their prime. So if it's a fighter, they roll a strength check. If it's a cleric, I can't think of any primes. If it's a cleric, it's a wisdom check and so on. So their main prime is what I do, mainly to give them. I want healing in the game, and I want this kind of alternate forms of healing because there's no. Literally, I'm running 2 games right now. We have no cleric in either party, and it's a huge problem. So I kind of encourage anything. No, it's not Gears of War. I kind of encourage anything that it's got like multiple versions of this damn game. First-person shooter. I'm always playing in Modern Warfare, but I think it may even have World War II versions. It's wildly popular. You get to equip your character with modern weapons, AK-40. Call of Duty, that's it, Retro Gamer, got it. You win, Retro, it's Call of Duty. I play one of the versions of Call of Duty. And that's the one. So, it's whatever you want, Clever. I mean, Dex, Intelligence, Wisdom, whatever you feel comfortable with. But like I said, I kind of want them to succeed at this. Now, I will give it a challenge level depending on the wound. And usually, if it's like 9 points, it's not going to be a seal 9, but it might be a seal 6. So I make it kind of tough. They got to work for it. Even though they got an advantage, they definitely have to work for it. And Call of Duty. Alternate isn't overpowering either. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. You don't want to do. You don't want to take this alternate healing and make the cleric superfluous. Because that is a huge part of the cleric's, you know, abilities is healing, and you don't want to make those superfluous. So you got to be kind of careful with it. How's it going, Decimus? Played the very first one, WW2. I don't know which. Mine was modern. It was some guy escapes a Russian prisoner of war camp. I never paid any attention to it. I just shoot things, and my son Pete usually would earn me a bunch of crap so that I could just go shoot things. I just really want to shoot things. So I don't know that I technically played Call of Duty, but I sat there and I shot things on the screen, which is exactly what I do in GTA. He started me when I took over his GTA account. He had $23 million, I think. Now, every time you die in GTA, I think it's $5,000 you pay. You go to the hospital, you pay $5,000, and you get out of the hospital. And it's down to like 13. It's down to like 13 million. I don't know. I have died a ridiculous number of times. Now I've spent money on other crap too, but cars or whatever. But yeah, I have died an absolutely ridiculous amount of time in that game. Love that game. GTA is fun. If you haven't played it, just pick it up. It's a lot of fun. All right, so on to number 2, exhaustion. This is pretty easy. I think this is sort of what Grindel was mentioning earlier. A lot of hit point damage is just exhaustion. You know, it's stress, it's aggravation, it's nervousness, it's all of these things. And once your adrenaline stops pumping, it's that kind of, you know, that collapse you have afterward. So if you want, you bring this into the game so that not all of the damage that they took is actual physical damage. So you can have them heal, say, 1 point every hour afterwards, up to 10% of the amount of damage they took. So if they took 10 points of damage, then they can heal 1 for the next hour, just kind of relaxing, calming down the whole thing. You take this and you couple this with bandages, and you're up to 3 to 4 hit points depending on how you do it. You can really start to kind of, you know, you can see how this can accumulate very, very rapidly, making the characters heal pretty fast. I like the exhaustion thing. I think it's got this kind of hint of realism to it, which I like in my game. I like the idea of bandages actually serving a purpose, and I like, I mean, any of you guys know, whether you've been in a fight or whether you've been chased by an animal or whether you've even just encountered an animal and been terrified from it, or you're in a dark forest, you know there is that kind of, your body goes into a overdrive as the adrenaline pumps and everything, and then once it's over, there's this kind of letdown, you know, this crash. So it's kind of a nice concept. It's some of that, as you kind of rebuild that over the next hour or so, kind of recover from your stress-induced whatever the hell. I played the single player in GTA, but never got around to trying to multiplayer. If I remember, I got a bunch of credit with the game too. Yeah, I play. That's all I do is a single player. Pete gets on all the time. Well, he used to. He doesn't play much. He gets on the PC now, but I never really got onto the online GTA. I definitely played the single player. Like I said, he did the mission. He finished the whole mission, so I can play either of the 3 characters. Trevor's my favorite. I absolutely love playing Trevor. He's just such a bum. I just normally drive Trevor around shooting things and blowing stuff up and dying mostly. It's awesome. It's awesome. I played last GTA I played was Vice City. Decimus says, yeah, I played. That's the first time I played GTA. A friend of mine, Chris Harris, gave me Vice City. He was done with it, gave it to me. It was so awesome. I absolutely loved it. It probably, if you were to trace all of this back, when I was very young, when I was 10 years old, I had this collection of Matchbox cars. I wasn't a hot rods. I liked the Matchbox. And I would go out into my yard and I would make roads between clumps of grasses. You know, you pull out one clump, kind of smooth things out, and this clump would be the house, and then I would smooth it. There'd be roads and driveways and stuff, and I would make these little towns, and I would drive my cars around and do whatever. So when when Vice City came out and I played it umpteen years ago, it just seemed like, well, man, this is I recaptured my 10-year-old. So I think I just like driving cars around and make believe towns. It stems from whatever brain damage I had as a child. Smell a street. Keep on going, Mark. Keep on. I'm liking the sound of this use of bandages. Yeah, it's really kind of cool. I love the concept of bandages, and I like. And when we get into number 3, number 5, as my placards all say, salves. And if you notice, I got bath salts up in there, so maybe you want to give them some bath salts. How's it going, Walt Fisher? Thanks for joining the stream. Much appreciated. Oh, speaking of which, if you haven't, give us a follow. We sure appreciate everybody coming by today. I keep forgetting to ask for that, but definitely click follow if you can, and let us know and spread the word about GM's Tricks of the Trade. We're here every Thursday at 4 o'clock, jabbering away, and that's what we're doing today. I got a late start because I was messing up the panels, as you can clearly see. Number 3 says number 5. There you go. Exhaustion speaks to damage being more than just physical. Yeah, I like that. I like that concept. I don't, I've had I'm sure you have too, long conversations about whether damage is physical or whether damage is exhaustion or whatever. And you can make valid arguments all the way around, right? And it's going to vary at the level and all this crap. But I like the concept of it's kind of a mixed bag. I kind of approach most things with that concept, that it's all a mixed bag. And if you bring in exhaustion, healing exhaustion, healing of exhaustion, becoming less exhausted, whatever that would be, I think, especially if you kind of limit it, you don't want to go overboard with it. It can really give you as a GM just a little bit more healing, and you add it to the bandages, and it gives you just a little bit more healing, so that it takes the pressure off the cleric. And if you don't have a cleric, it takes the pressure off the game. This may be what you're already saying, but in my game, clerics are special for being able to heal in combat. The other healing alternatives take longer and not for in combat healing. Yeah, that's sort of the concept. So what I'm running into in my game too often is I don't have any clerics, or the ones I have won't heal at all. They, a little bit. So you get damaged characters, especially this is hard when they're in that range, 5th level to about 10th. But they got a decent amount of hit points, so they don't heal quickly. But they can't sustain the damage like a high-level character. You can't run for 10 games with a damaged character. So you get into this kind of this catch-22 of what to do as a GM if you don't have cleric healing. And for me, I like magic healing, but it's one of those things, I don't want to just dull it out all the time. I don't want there to be every treasure trove, there's 5 healing potions or a stab of healing or whatever the hell. So alternate methods of healing that don't involve magic or spells, cleric, druid, or in the case of castles and crusades, the illusionist, it's I think something that really enhances the game, and it really just the role playing and all that crap, and it gives you an out for the same problem, Lucid, that you're talking about right there. Really, exactly my thoughts. 2 hit points is not just health points; it's fatigue, tiredness, and mental focus ability. When you're low in hit points, you have a problem with those things. Absolutely, I love it, and I love that concept. I wouldn't in my game. I don't let it overtake. There still is physical damage, so this is why the exhaustion thing is kind of a nice mixed bag. You give a little bit to it, but you don't want to go overboard with it. You don't want to, they're exhausted, so they heal 90% of the damage they took. That's not cool, because they still got clocked in the head right by the mace. But salve saves, but you definitely want to, if you want to, it's just a great tool to use if you're inclined to. I played one game where by resting, characters recovered 50% of the damage they lost. GM figured some of the damage was exhaustion. Yeah, that's exactly it, and it'll save a lot of headache if that's the approach that you want to take. Caffeine berries is a stimulant. There you go. Yeah, yeah. I just found out for some strange reason, coffee will keep you from having gallbladder attacks or something. So maybe we can weave coffee as a healing potion into there. Though I don't drink coffee, I just drink Dr. Pepper. So there you go. Apparently, I need to start drinking coffee if it's gonna heal me of strange ailments. French roast your good buddies and make coffee. Yep, we all went down the same road. I do like that all the tips today are listed as they weren't. I fixed it, then didn't fix it, and I unfixed it. So there you go. They're all worth 5. There you go. So if you look, this jar on this one is bath salts. I started to think of a joke, but couldn't really try to think of a joke. Couldn't really think of one. Maybe give them bath salts and they devour each other or some kind of craziness. I don't know. All right, so let's go on. We're going to move from Trick of the Trade number 5 to Trick of the Trade number 5, and we're going to discuss plants. So really, this kind of falls right into the... Wait, did I even talk about salves? I don't even think I talked... Wait, we got to roll back. We got to go back from Trick of the Trade number 5 and go to Trick of the Trade number 5 and talk about salves, because I completely missed it. The bath salts. So really, this is almost kind of the same thing. as bandages, because though I use it to enhance the one and the other. So if they don't have it, great, whatever. They use the bandages, they move on. But if they use some kind of healing salve, pay 5 gold pieces for it. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. They smear this crap on, and it helps, mend the tissue, keeps down infection, whatever, and wrap the bandages on. So the salve will give them a hit point, maybe 2 hit points, and depending on the severity of the wound. The bandage on top of that's going to give them 1 to 2 hit points, depending again on the severity of their wound. Then they're going to make their attribute check. So now they're possibly healed up 5 hit points already. And any of these things, I mean, we've got all kinds of stuff that we go to, whatever, pharmaceutical, what do we got? Walgreens, I don't know, Kroger, whatever. We got all kinds of crap that we buy to help us heal better, faster, blah, blah, blah. So there's no reason in a world like, Arid or the one that you're playing in, if it's not Arid, wouldn't have these things as well. So definitely bring salves into the mix, mix them in with your bandages, and drive the whole thing forward. Creams of curing, healing salve, or blam. Love seeing you been playing for years. How's it going, Chupa? Spellventory. Mark, you seem to be caught on the word spell. Maybe, I don't know, are there any other words? Is there another word for spell? Magic? No, that doesn't make any sense. Lotions of lacerations. We're going down a dangerous, slippery slope. So we should probably curl it and roll it in. I love players using survival herbalism. Players willing to look for healing herbs will almost always find them. Yeah, and that's actually the next one is plants. Trick of the trade number 5, plants as well. Kind of dives into that whole concept. Icy hot. There you go. Gwendol, I can't say that word. Dwemer. I've never been able to say that bloody word. There's another word I absolutely cannot say. You can look it up. I want to spell it for you guys. I have no idea, and sadly, none of you guys are going to be able to vocalize how to spell this. I run across it in my reading all the time. Domain. Is it domain? A domain? It's a French word. God damn. It's crazy French. And they're crazy consonants. Just as a heads up, I love France, and I love the French. Beautiful people, very, very nice. I can never pronounce that word. Drives me absolutely crazy. The internet's telling me it's domain? I don't know. I'll have to ask him. Anyways, back to dweemers, whatever. Whatever craziness. So we're on to plants. And again, this kind of falls into the same thing, and I think Farwander just mentioned it. Trying to get my thing back open there. And Aragorn does it best, right? When you're looking at the Lord of the Rings, I think it's in it's in the last one, The Return of the King, where Faramir is dying, and Aragorn comes in, and they've got this plant, Arathis or something, I can't remember the name of it. And the king is able to use this plant to create a healing tea or whatever, and there you go. I absolutely hate that word. And then you got it, right? And the guy's healed. So that same concept plays over. There isn't any reason that, a lot of our modern medicines are made from plant extracts. There isn't any reason that rangers, druids, or even people experienced with any kind of local herbalism wouldn't be able to find, some kind of plant, some kind of moss, whatever it is that they can make into whatever they make it into, a salve, an ointment, a drink, and heal characters more. I do this frequently. In the world of Arid, I've actually created plants that allow you to do this, and it gives you specifics how many hit points this will heal. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can definitely do with plants. Yeah, domain. So that's how you say it, domain. So it is domain. So it's just like D-O-M-A-N-E or whatever, how the hell you spell ours, domain. Moss munchies here. Okay, so domain. All right. So it's got an M-A-N. I guess that I can't remember any of my pronunciation symbols. Jesus. So the line makes it a long vowel. Is that correct? I think that's what that does. Skyrim alchemy. Yeah, where'd Mark go? Mark, you still with him? Dwarmer 2. All right. That's it, Mark. You're in the appendix. Rubbing and racing. Eat your greens. There you go. What is it? Apple a day keeps the doctor away. in case the boy of this dentist here. But there you go. You can also pronounce it as our English word, demean. So demean, spell appendix. There you go. All right. So trick of the trade number 5, plants. We are going to move on from plants and wander into consumption, which I think Tim renamed to nutrients. Is that right? But look, I kept it consumption, which I think is actually a disease. I'm pretty sure that's a disease. In the newsletter, Tim changed it to nutrients, but clearly I didn't get the memo. I did actually. He told me hours before it went out. I just completely forgotten about it. So, what do we got here? Damine clerics, they wouldn't heal me. There you go. Supercalifragilistic. Just spell it. There you go. Eric goes into the forest and finds some broccoli. I like no far wander. Don't get attached to spell appendix. It's not going to be spell appendix. I thought that's what that was, DM. I knew consumption was one of those. I don't know that we use that term anymore. They definitely used it in the 1800s. I'm not sure we use it anymore. But so consumption for healing is not what you want here. What you really want is nutrients. But again, for those just joining us, I had to hobble these panels together. Chuck normally does these. He had an emergency. I didn't get them done, so I hobbled these things together. And so this is what we get. We get 5 tricks of the trade, all named number 5, and tuberculosis is our final method of healing. Yes, Doc Holliday had tuberculosis. That's what eventually killed him, despite his very, very rough career. I think he died in Denver, actually, in a hospital. I don't know that Wyatt Earp was with him, but definitely his longtime love was near. And Earp, of course, one of his good friends. Soylent Green. Soylent Green is people. Upon Dream, when my daughter was like 10, I had her a t-shirt. I bought her a t-shirt that said Soylent Green is people, and she had no idea what it was about, but she wore it to school all the time, so it was awesome. Probably one of my greater moments of parenting, I think. So there you go. I think the magic book should be a list of all the spells and magic stuff that... Yeah, there you go. 75. Well, if you look at books from the 1800s, they frequently have titles like that. They have it's like a sentence. If you want a great herb book, Maelstrom Doomsday book is awesome. I'll check it out. I know we've got one we're putting together for... the Castle Keeper's Guide Kickstarter. Chuck's actually the head writer on that. He's putting all that together. So, we'll have our own coming out soon. In a sanatorium, another word we don't use anymore. Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, we don't do. Do we even call them anything anymore? What are they? I don't know. Probably just a hospital. I'm not sure. They had one here in Little Rock, but it's closed. How to Serve Mankind. Doomsday. Alright, I'm going to just go to the appendix. You guys can have the front of the book. I'm going to the appendix. Where it's quiet. Am I the only bird here cringing at the U.S. pronunciation of herb? So how do you say it, Pete? In the specialized tome of spectrographics with ample consideration of components and gesticulations. There you go. That's the winner. Mark, you got it. That's what we're going to call the book. Herb. That's what we're going to call it. I love it. Specialized tome of spectrographics with ample consideration of components and gesticulations. There you go. Absolutely. So, herb. So what are we saying? We're saying... isn't that Irby? What? Arby's? Isn't that a place to eat roast beef sandwiches? So anyways, as we're winding up, some people may actually be here to talk about tricks of the trade and not figure out how to name the specialized tome of components and gesticulations. So the last one, consumption, which we renamed nutrients, I didn't get the memo, is really food. So, when you're ill sometimes, what is it? Is it feed a fever, starve a cold? I think that's what it is. So when you're feverish and you eat and you just feel better. And the same thing is when you're exhausted, you get some nutrients and you drink a lot of water, Gatorade, whatever it is that you need. Come with a drink, stay with the appendix. Exactly. There's all kinds of, anytime you eat when you're kind of worn out, it helps. And you kind of get nutrients in your body. So the same kind of the same philosophy that we've been talking about for all of these things, bandages, salves, exhaustion, all of it you can use with nutrients as well. Have them eat something back and heal back either a few hit points or a percentage of their hit points. I wouldn't go over 10% if you're going to do it, simply because, like we talked about earlier, you want the cleric to actually have a role. You don't want to take that role away from them. So you don't want all of these things to heal more than the cleric can do, but certainly can enhance. Or if you don't have a cleric, can actually make something. Give your players somehow to actually heal. I think we're rolling up against the raffle. Are we doing the raffle? Tim, did you announce it? Yeah, so I will be, for those of you just joining us, I will be running a game on the 17th. I don't know when that is. I think it's next Thursday, right after Tricks of the Trade. And it'll probably be 30 minutes after or something like that. And we're raffling off seats at the table. Just so enter !raffle. And that should put you into the mix. And I think we've got 6 or 8 chairs, I'm not sure. And we're going to fill it up and sit down and game here on Twitch. Of course, you can come to watch us. We're going to game, try to drag me with my consumption and my tuberculosis into the modern world. I'm going to do some gaming online. It'll be Castles and Crusades, of course, but for those of you who play 5th edition or Sword and Wizardry or Dungeon Crawl Classics, I mean, it's obviously you'll be familiar with the game. We're all kind of in the same gang, right? A cleric can heal during combat. The other methods are great for out-of-combat healing. I allow clerics to heal in combat. That's their action, of course, that they take. They go in and heal and do it. My problem is I don't have any clerics at the table. No one wants to play one. I don't know why that is. It's just kind of interesting how it's all panned out. But those joining us late, we had quite a few people, it looks like, come wandering in. Just to let you know, we went over healing, just alternative ways of healing, and we talked about using bandages and giving those a mechanical value, allowing characters to rest for a few hours and healing back up maybe a small percentage of their hit points. We talked about using salves, ointments, medicines, stuff like that to heal 1 or 2 hit points back, finding herbs and plants to create salves or teas or whatever that allows you to heal, and then of course consumption, nutrients, which will just kind of feed the character and give them a few more back. So hopefully by the end of a 7-8 hour rest period, your characters have earned or have healed 5, 6, 8, 10 hit points back, and they're back in the game, and you don't have to worry about the cleric. The cleric can do other things, or if you don't have one, you're in a good spot. Let's see. Newt's Favorable Compendium, KFC. There you go. You worked that one hard, M5. I can feel it. So. That's fantastic. They lack faith. That's hard day. I guess that's what it is. I don't know what it is about, but no one wants to play the cleric. Of course, Dave has played him forever, and in a high-level game, I think that if anyone made one, it would be kind of competing, but he hadn't been at the table for 3 years, so there you go. And just to let everybody know who's joined us today, we're hard at work putting together a Kickstarter. Everything's been the apple cart's been upset. We were going to do a Indiegogo campaign to kind of move into a new venue, and for the Rune Lore Adventures, which we've got, I think there's 12 or 13 of them. They're nowhere out there anymore. We broke Rune Lore up and scattered it amongst several books, and the adventures just kind of got lost. So the idea was to do an Indiegogo campaign and see what kind of support we can get and build and bring this thing out in a slightly nicer format than otherwise. Well, that's been kind of knocked on its rump, and we are, because the player's handbooks, our rate of sales have increased markedly over the past 3 weeks. Of course, that could end at any point, but what we absolutely cannot do is be out of player's handbooks. So if this continues, we'll be out by Christmas, which will make the Christmas season just not good for the Troll Lord. So we've moved the player's handbook off. We were going to do a Kickstarter next year for it. We've moved the player's handbook up. We've hitched its wagon to the Spell Compendium book, the Adventure Spell Book, whatever the heck we decide to call that thing. So it's going to be a 2-book Kickstarter, the player's handbook, 8th printing, and the spell compendium book. And this spell compendium will gather all the spells from all sources that we can remember. Elemental spell book, Adventurer's Backpack, Player's Guide to Airds, and the Player's Handbook, as well as include the rune lore spells, both that have been written and those that have not been written. Those will be wrapped up and finished. I have a very, very loose, actually I'm going to be pretty hard with it, a print date of November 1st for the Player's Handbook. I hope to send the compendium book as well, which gives us only 2 months to get these things together. A lot of the material is already done. Of course, it just needs cleaned up and laid out, and the new art done for the book on the Player's Handbook. So all these things are happening. And in answer to your question, Retro Gamer, we are about halfway through the Castle Keeper's Guide in the editing process on Monday. Now that I've kind of got Gaxmar mostly off of my desk, the CKG is the next, and I really want it to go to the printers by November 1st as well. I want these things done and wrapped up and out. Really, for us as a company to not have the Player's Handbook and to not have the Castle Keeper's Guide, in stock it's not good. It's not going to be good under any circumstance. Yeah, Commander Pete. The nice thing about the Player's Handbook is it doesn't need to be written and play tested and all of these things. It needs some cleaning up. Peter and Bradley and I are talking about the ways to reorganize it. I want new art in the book. They are Zoe and Peter. I told them last week this has to happen now, so they dropped all that they're doing and they've already started it. We've got a great. The Ranger's already looking fantastic. I got her right here. Just looks great, and that's one of the things that we're doing with. It's one of the things that we're doing with the Player's Handbook 8th printing is we want to have a female and a male picture of each of the classes. I'm super excited about that. There will be Decimus. I'm running about 2 days behind. Decimus asked if there's a pre-release page for the Kickstarter. There will be. We'll get this all put together. I was hoping to launch early next week. It'll probably be midweek, give or take. So it'll all kind of come together. But we're going to move on. We're going to move fast on this one, and it's going to. I'm not going to be nice to all the trolls. The trolls are going to get this done because it needs to be done. I'm going to be all over this new PHB when it launches. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I'm really excited about the new art. I don't know if we're going to get a new cover. I still love the cover that's on there. I love both of them, to be honest with you. But I think we're 15 years in. We're 15 years in. It's time for some new art on the inside. And if Peter wants to do a slightly better or different layout, I'm okay with that too. But there you go. All right, so Willie, it looks like you won. You are in next week on the 17th. We'll be gaming. We'll plunge into the Darkened Fold, and we'll see what comes up. Lord only knows what seeps out of my brain pan and what the players will do when all of that chaos meets at the table. As you all know, there's no way you can predict it. It's like Christmas, yeah. We'll see, hopefully. But congratulations, very cool. Well, it looks like we have wound down with our 1/5 tricks of the trade and our tuberculosis. We managed to get through it without Chuck. It didn't go as smooth as normal, but he'll be back. He'll be back next week, and we'll try to get ahead of this stuff just a little bit. Marcus says in the appendix, Virtual Wizard. wait, I moved to the appendix. Everybody out of the appendix. All right, very cool. All right, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for all this stuff. Sure, love hanging out with you guys. And we'll be more organized next week. Get this tuberculosis mess wrapped up and out of it. So you all have a great evening and a great weekend, and we will see you next week for Ask Me Anything, and then of course painting and Jim Tricks of the Trade and the game next Saturday night. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. See you later, 42 DM Grendel Troop, everybody, Commander Pete, Decimus, and Samuel Farwander. We will see you next time around.